don't want to just get right into it, man. This Zepeda Baranchyk fight was truly one of the most like brutal and back and forth fights I've seen in a long time, man. This is one of those, if you haven't seen it, you gotta see this one. Like, there's no maybe. Like, this is the best fight of the year, if not the best fight of a couple of years. And there's a brutality that boxing can show sometimes. And this fight showed every side of that. And there's a beauty that boxing can have, and this fight showed every side of that. You know, two guys that want to get up. They want to win. They want to keep pushing forward. And it was just a really special event, man. You know, you could tell by the end of the fight that the commentary crew, you know, anybody watching would have felt some level of emotion watching this fight, because it was just, you don't see this every day, you know. And in the first round, Baranchyk came out extremely aggressive. He is kind of known as a brawler, you know, come forward, power puncher. At the time, he was 20-1, 13 knockouts. So the first round, he comes out and he's throwing these long kind of looping shots, and they're coming from weird angles, and they're landing on weird parts of the head, and he's just got a really aggressive, intense attack, and he came out with all of it. And I think Zepeda was a little caught off guard. He's more of a technical type outside fighter, and I think that this pace, this level of aggression, you know, really caught him off guard. I don't know if I think in the first round he was a little shocked. And you know, Baranchyk was doing this really cool move, this drop hook, where he would drop low and kind of start the hook low, but then come up high with it. So he would, you know, he would be coming forward. He's on the front foot and just drop down and throw this looping hook. And normally big looping shots, a lot of times it's tough to keep the power on them because they have more distance to travel than a straight punch. But this guy keeps the power on him because I think he's just a full, he's a free thrower. He puts his full body into the weight of every single shot. So he drops Zepeda twice in this first round. And it's maybe looking like Baranchyk is going to have his way a little bit. And then the second round starts. And he comes out swinging a little too hard. And Zepeda gets literally under and around him and lands a hard combination and drops him. Now, Kenny Bayless didn't call it a knockdown, but I see it as a knockdown, even though it's not officially a knockdown. There's no reason it shouldn't be other than he just didn't see that the punches landed, and I guess he thought Baranchyk slipped or something. But the second round after that, Zepeda starts establishing some respect, man. You know, he starts, getting a little bit of a jab working, a little bit more of his distance. And, you know, Baranchyk comes in with another big looping shot. Zepeda steps back and he lands a 6-3-2, which is the back uppercut and then the front hook and then the back with a straight, and puts Baranchyk down hard. And you could see Baranchyk was buzzed. His legs are fucked up. You know, his eyes are a little cloudy. And I think Zepeda was thinking, this is my moment. I got to go get him now. So he steps to him and he's throwing combinations and he's throwing really hard shots, and he gets too aggressive. And Baranchyk's right there ready for him and drops him. You know, as he's sitting on the ropes, he drops Zepeda. So now the knockdown count is 3-1, and you got two guys with fucked up legs. And that round ends. And, you know, it was just very obvious at the end of the second round that this is not going to be Baranchyk walking through Zepeda, because Zepeda's got the power to put Baranchyk on his ass in maybe a more meaningful way than Baranchyk is doing to Zepeda. You know, so the third round, Zepeda really starts getting his jab and his long left hand going, and he's starting to, you know, put medium power shots together. Nice quick combinations. He's limiting the return on the big looping shots, and he drops him with like a little, it's almost like a hook uppercut, but he does 3 counter left hands in a row from the southpaw stance and puts Baranchyk down again. And you could tell he was hurt, man. Every time he's putting Baranchyk down, it's really hurting him. And you could see that Zepeda's got kind of the more concussive one punch power, And Baranchyk has sort of that thudding, like physically move you power where, when he hits you in the shoulder or whatever, like he moves you, but it's not necessarily the same kind of power. And round 4 becomes, a complete war. And these guys are throwing and they're trading and they're hitting each other with absolute bombs that would put most people out. And they're doing it smart. They're in the inside. They're in the pocket. They're using good defense a lot of the time, particularly Zepeda. And Zepeda, counters with a left uppercut again and drops Baranchyk again, being too aggressive. And now the knockdown count is even. And it's starting to look like, Zepeda's power is a little too much for Baranchyk. That maybe, Baranchyk's style is just to be aggressive, just to come forward. And he leaves himself too vulnerable to a good counterpuncher like Zepeda. So, again, round 5, Baranchyk comes out and he's extremely aggressive again. And he's coming at him hard the whole round. He's on the front foot, swinging with everything he has. And there's about a minute left in the 5th round, and he hits Zepeda with an overhand right that would put anybody else out. Anybody else. Gets him clean with it. Zepeda falls into the ropes. Bayless calls it a knockdown. You could see Zepeda is like, he's focused, but there's no way he wasn't a little bit buzzed from the shot. And again, Baranchyk comes in overly aggressive. Zepeda steps back and lands a 3-2, the right hook, left hand, and puts Baranchyk to sleep. Slept. The guy was out on impact. And it was so sudden. It was so fucking sudden. I cannot say that enough. Like, obviously all the knockdowns were sudden, but they were both popping right back up. Like, yeah, let's go. And there was something about how these two landed. They were right on the button. Baranchyk was completely on the front foot, trying to get on the inside. And Zepeda just timed it perfectly. He really did just time it perfectly. And that's kind of the risk with those fights, right? Where it's a real firefight like that. It could be either guy that gets put out at any second when there's bombs landing like that. It reminded me of fights like, James Kirkland and Alfredo Angulo. If you saw that fight where they're trading knockdowns and they're trading big punches and eventually Kirkland gets to Angulo, or, Miguel Cotto and Ricardo Torres. It was, the first time Cotto gets put down, he's getting rocked, Torres goes down and they're just back and forth and back and forth. Those fights are real gut checks and for both guys. And I think by the time they're over, we as fans know that they're both true warriors. You know what I mean? We know that. And, for Zepeda, a win like this, it's like you can overcome anything after that. After you go through that and you come out on top, like there's nothing in the ring that's ever going to get to his head again. I get the sense from the commentary that maybe Zepeda has a little bit of a confidence issue. Maybe I'm interpreting that wrong, but it seems like maybe has a second guessing himself, that he goes through. This fight should kill that. This fight should kill that, because if he can get through that and get up 4 times from a hard puncher that's really strong junior welterweight, like the most muscular junior welterweight I've ever seen, he can go through anything, man. Like, and same goes for Baranchyk, to be honest with you. The only thing I worry about with Baranchyk is that a knockout like that, there's always the chance that you leave something in the ring that night, that you can't get back, that there's a piece of you as a fighter that's gone after that. And that's very possible. It was a brutal knockout. It was a sudden knockout. Hopefully it doesn't take too much away from him long term, because the fight was only 5 rounds. But you just never know, and that's why you got to fucking appreciate these guys and make sure they get the fucking roses while they can smell them, because they put their lives on the line, always. Every single time you get in that ring, you're putting your fucking life on the line. And, we as fans, we got to fucking respect it, man. So this was a really special fight. I can't say that enough. If you haven't watched it, you really need to go back and take a look, because there may not be another fight like this for a little bit. This only happens every couple of years.